thank you for joining us. I am now going to turn it over to Jennifer Fielder, who is a regional manager for IES, for some remarks and introduction of today's speaker. Jennifer?
Thank you, Susan. Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to the North Carolina Award for Excellence webinar. Thank you for joining us this morning. As Susan mentioned, my name is Jennifer Fielder. I am a regional manager here with NC State Industry Extension Services. I cover Mecklenburg County, Gaston County, and Lincoln County. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about NCAFE, which is that North Carolina Award for Excellence program, as well as the Baldrige Awards. And so today you'll learn a little bit about the history of both of those programs, the key criteria for applying to these programs, and a few pointers and best practices for your application. First, I'd like to take just a moment to talk about who we are. Who is Industry Extension Services? So University Extension partners with business and industry to transfer knowledge and support next generation technologies. We are a public-private performance model. We use state appropriations, federal funding, and revenue-based activities to support our business. Some of our industries served are small and medium-sized manufacturers, which is really the bulk of our clients, but we also do serve educational and research institutions, healthcare and pharmaceutical companies, defense contractors, aerospace and energy sectors, government agencies, and many more. So if you are on that list or another agency, chances are we will have services that can help grow your business. Some areas of our expertise include advanced manufacturing and technology adoption, business growth, innovation, and marketing solutions, which is something our speaker today knows a great deal about. We work a lot in cybersecurity, defense industry initiatives, leadership and organizational coaching, process optimization, quality and management systems, and much, much more. So if you have a need and you're a small, medium-sized manufacturer, chances are one of our regional managers will be able to support you in growing your business or meeting any challenges that you may be having or talking about potential opportunities for growth. So with that, I would like to introduce our speaker today. His name is Kevin Grayson. He is himself an NC State alum. He's been with IES for about 28 years now, so definitely a subject matter expert. He has been a Baldrige examiner for about 25, 26 years. He is also on the TNCPE Board of Directors. He is a director of NCAFE since 2018, and he's worked in manufacturing for about 15 years. So a lot of industry and organizational excellence experience. So I will hand it over to Kevin Grayson. Hi, Kevin.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Thanks. So I'm going to
Sure.
skip this slide. Jennifer did a great job of covering that for us already. So I want to jump right into the history of Baldrige. Some of you may or may not know about where Baldrige came from and so forth, but the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award is the highest level of national recognition of performance excellence that a U.S. organization can receive. It was created in Congress as the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Improvement Act in 1987. And it was named after Malcolm Baldrige, of course, who was the Secretary of Commerce under President Reagan. And he was killed. He was, even though he was Secretary of Commerce, he was still competing in rodeos, even at the age of 64. And he died in a rodeo accident at the age of 64. And so that's when the Quality Improvement Act was created and named after him. President Reagan actually presented the first three awards of the first three Baldrige Awards in the White House in 1988. The act was created in 87. The first award winners were given out in 1988. Among those winners was Motorola, and many of you, of course, know Motorola as the organization that we give credit for as creating Six Sigma. And so that's kind of when Six Sigma became apparent, is when organizations started to share what they had done along their quality journey and Motorola started sharing this thing that they call Six Sigma, and that's kind of when the world started learning about Six Sigma. The purpose of the National Equality Improvement Act is to seeks to identify role model organizations and understand their best practices such that other organizations can benchmark and emulate them. So that was the whole intent. Back in the 80s, of course, manufacturing quality in this country had kind of a bad name to it. And this Quality Improvement Act was one of the ways that Congress wanted to address it. And it was really more, there is an award process, of course, that we recognize award winners, but the big thing was sharing and benchmarking so that others could improve their processes. So that was the big purpose behind it, and remains the big purpose today. Even many there are many state Baldrige Award programs that were created in the early 1990s, including North Carolina, the one, NCAfE. And so that's when we got our start in the early 90s, like many other state programs. So, some basic Baldrige criteria, if you will. There's seven criteria that creates the Baldrige results. This is morphing a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about how there's been some recent changes to this. But these are the seven criteria and how applicants are assessed. You get graded on 1,000 point scale on the Baldrige program, or you traditionally have been graded on 1,000 point scale. And there are six Baldrige sectors. This started out mainly as a manufacturing quality act, and it was added. The Clinton administration added education and healthcare, and since then, nonprofit and government has been added. So there's actually six different Baldrige sectors that you can apply. So if you fit into one of these six sectors, you can apply for the Baldrige under these separate sectors. So the seven criteria: leadership is category one, category two is strategies, category three is customers. Category four is measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Category five is workforce, and category six is operations. So those are the six what we call process categories. And so you talk about how your processes work in those areas, and then you share your results in category seven. And the results are assessed in a different manner than the six process categories. So those are the seven criteria that are used in Baldrige. And again, it's based on 1,000 point scale. Um, the current assessment criteria, this has changed a little bit in 2024. There's actually eight, and they're very similar. But leadership and governance is category one. Operations is two. Workforce three. Customers and market four. Finance five. Strategy six. Organizational learning seven, and community relations eight. So this is in a process of changing, or was changed in 2024. And in 2024, the national program took a pause actually, and made some changes to the criteria. That's not unusual. They've been changed many times over the years, but there was also they wanted to make it more easier. Maybe it's not the right word, but more where more organizations could apply for the Baldrige criteria. It was very restricted to even apply. So the two things, they made the changes to the criteria that you can see, but the probably the bigger one along those lines is they dropped the requirement that you must have won your state top level winning organization. They dropped that, trying to get more applicants in, and I think it actually helped along those lines. However, the applicants that came in without having won their state top level organization didn't fare very well. And so I think this requirement may come back. That's not for sure yet, but there's been talk that that requirement may go back because the organizations that came in without winning their top level state did not do so well. So here's the war. Here's our history, the history of the NCAFE Award. NCAFE was created in 1994, although it had a different name. It didn't start out as NCAFE. It was the original program was highly dependent on state funding. Essentially, all the dollars that came into the program were state appropriations. And we had a big flood in along this time frame. I think it was Hurricane Fran down east and did a lot of damage, and a lot of state monies had to go to recovery, much like the most recent Helene in the western part of the state. And the program was cut out of the budget. And so it was brought into our department. We were asked if we would take it over because we do similar work in helping organizations, as Jennifer talked about, improve and make improvements and so forth. And so we took it over, and the program was rebranded in 2002 as NCAFE, and so it's been the North Carolina Awards for Excellence since 2002. So, but before then, it existed. It just existed under a different name. In 2016, we formed a partnership with TNCPE, Tennessee Center for Performance Excellence, and I'll talk more about that as we go forward. But we've been working with them as in partnership since 2016, and it's been a very good partnership for us. And I'll talk about how that works as we move forward. Um, Roughly, we've had 30 NCAFE winning organizations since our beginning. We've had two national Baldrige winning organizations that have won our NCAFE award and gone on to win the national award, Premier in Charlotte and Iredell Statesville schools over in Statesville, North Carolina. So we've had two award-winning top levels that have gone on to win the national award. So we're very proud of that. And but overall, we've had 30 winning organizations since it started back in the mid 90s. So here's our award process. We award different levels, level 1 through 4. This is very common across the state programs. State programs are essentially in place to help you get started and to kind of help you, crawl, walk, run kind of thing. And so our program, like Tennessee and most all other programs, have different levels of participation and award levels. It's kind of help, so you don't have to jump in the deep end of the pool, the first jump, if you will. So, you write an application, you submit the application, your examiner, IR stands for independent review, there'll be examiners review your application and create what we call strengths and OFIs, opportunities for improvements. And so you get both. And if you're making a comparison to your ISO 9000 program, if you know an ISO 9000 or similar programs, you only get non-conformances there. In the Baldrige world, we write both strengths and OFIs, opportunities for improvement. The strengths are really for the organizations that would like to benchmark you and understand, your strengths and maybe emulate some of your better processes. Then the independent review, the examiners get into what's called a consensus review, which there's a team of examiners and they consent to one set of comments. And so, but we all take our strengths and OFIs and consents into one set of strengths and OFIs. Then there is a site visit. So the examiner team will come out to your site and assess what we call verify and clarify our comments that we've written in our strengths and OFIs. And then we turn over our work to the judges panel, and the judges makes the award announcements or the award decisions. Award announcements usually come out towards the end of the year, usually November, early December type thing. We send you a feedback report so you know your strengths and your OFIs and your score. That'll also come out at the end of the award cycle. And then we like to recognize you in your local community. So we would like to, we do bring out the award, and we bring in, the local press as you would like for them. So not everybody likes that. But Jennifer and the rest of the regional managers have very good contacts out in their regions, in the line of economic development folks and community college people and things of that sort, politicians as well. So, we like to bring those in and celebrate that accomplishment with you. But of course, the award winner, dictates how much they want or do not want of that. So that's kind of the way the award process works. It starts up in the spring, and I'll talk a little bit more about the calendar as we move forward. But it's several months long, although your participation as an award applicant is really at the beginning when you submit your application, and really not much there's nothing for you to do until the site visit, and you host the site visit and make that visit. So here's our mission: to support the North Carolina economy and support the citizens of North Carolina, encouraging and recognizing organizational excellence. And our vision is to be seen as the preeminent performance excellence award within the state of North Carolina. So we work hard to achieve both our mission and vision. And so this is why we exist. I talked about the different award levels. There's a cost to each one. This is the different levels of cost. The cost has a variation there, basically based on the number of employees. So if you're a low employee, and I don't have the employee count, but I believe it's 500. If you're less than 500, you're at the low end of this range, the range in each of these. If you're above 500 employees, you're above this. And there's different pages for your application. So if you're a level one, you don't have to submit any application. We actually come to you and ask you a set of questions and kind of coach you through the level one form, if you will. And we basically fill it out for you, and you can get recognized as a level one, which shows that you have interest in the NCAFE program. If you're level 2, 3, and 4, you do submit an application, and the 50-page application mimics the national 50-page application that's traditionally been used in the Baldrige world. So we believe our level 4 award is equal to that of the national, and so you'd be very well prepared to go to the national if you win our level 4. I've talked a little bit more about the award recognition process. In addition to making the trophy presentation, there's actually a award crystal that we give you. We do statewide press releases through our marketing group, email blast, IES newsletter, and then of course we recognize you on our website as well. So we want to be sure people around the state know your accomplishments there. Again, here's some of our prior award winners. Two of them, as I mentioned, have gone on to win the national award. Duke University Hospital got some national recognition at the Baldrige National Award, but they did not win the national award. They did earn a site visit. That's also not easy to achieve at the national level. And the Village Pinehurst. So these are some of the other award winners. And our most recent one is the Cherokee Indian Hospital Authority, hospitals that serves the Cherokee people in Cherokee, North Carolina, and they won our level 2 award in 2024. So proud of their accomplishment, and we went out and visited with them. So, there's different organizations in our pipeline that are, at different levels. Some are just starting, some are thinking about this, but we have a pretty good pipeline. These are ones that I know about. There's, that have contacted me. There's a couple municipalities that have shown interest. We have one division of state government that has shown interest. We have 2 regional hospitals that are, again, at different varying levels. Not all these folks will apply this year, I'm quite sure. One regional transit authority, which was very interesting, one nonprofit organization, and one small medium manufacturing company. So we have different levels of different people at different stages in our pipeline that we think and hope at least some of these folks will move into the application stage in the coming months or years. So again, they're all at different levels of interest and different levels of where they're at. So this partnership that we formed with TNCPE, which is our peer organization over in Tennessee, we did it for 2 reasons. It eliminated redundancy in areas such as examiner training and award administration. So before 2016, we had our own examiner training. We had our own, award judging process. And so we have, basically used them to do our examiner training for us starting in 2016, and it's worked out real well. They come over to Asheville, usually the Asheville area, each in June, and have a class for us for our NCAFE examiners. And one of the big things that they are able to do is because they usually have more applicants, always have more applicants than us, is our NCAFE examiners that get trained have a place to go use their skills. So we can assign them to a team. Their applicant, if we don't have someone from North Carolina, may be in Tennessee, but they will get to participate on a team, the full award cycle, and get to participate and not take advantage of their training. The other reason that we did this is it removes conflict of interest. So as Jennifer mentioned in the very beginning, we go out and help companies implement things, and one of the things that we help them implement is Baldrige. And so we might do Baldrige classes and Baldrige training and help organizations write applications and a lot of different ways to help organizations with the NCAfE and the Baldrige process. And so by us removing ourselves from the judging process, it removes conflicts of interest. And we thought that was important for us to continue our help services and not have a conflict of interest in the award judging process. So it's been a great partnership with us and TNCPE. It continues on, and so we're happy to have them as partners. They've been great to support us. So here's our cycle, if you will. It's pretty much we start up in February later this month. In fact, I'll probably send out an email next week announcing that we will start recruiting our examiners, and that examiner recruitment process goes through May. The prior year recognitions at state conferences, TNCPE has their conference. We have a conference in May, April this year. We try to recognize and be sure our award recognitions are happening. So TNCP will do that in February. We do not have any for 2025, so we don't have anybody to recognize at our conference this year. We train examiners in June and July. I think our dates this year are June 22 through 24, if I'm not mistaken. And again, that's up in the Asheville area. So if you're interested in being an examiner, please sign up. We'd love to have you. The applications, if you're interested in being an award applicant, those are due in July 1. We assign teams in August, and that examiner work that I mentioned before, the independent review and consensus review work, that starts and happens in August and September. So if you are an examiner, you'll do the training in June and you'll start your work in August. Probably mid-August. So that's kind of the award cycle, if you will, the examiner cycle, and it continues it with site visits. Those mainly occur in October. That obviously they have to meet a date that the applicant can host us, but the judges make their decisions in November, and then we get the feedback reports out and make our notifications again, either in late November or early December. So that's kind of our cycle. It repeats every year, and we pretty much use the same dates. So there's many different ways to participate in NCAfE. So people on our webinar today may be interested in different ways to participate in different levels. One is to be an examiner. And like I mentioned, we will start recruiting examiners later this month, probably next week. So if you're interested in being an examiner, it's a great process. I've been a Baldrige examiner for many years. Jennifer said I started in 2000. I haven't done it every single year for 26 years, but most of those years I've been a Baldrige examiner. And it's a great process. You learn a lot about how great organizations work and some of the great really good processes and how to write comments and a lot of good things. Somebody one of the articles equated it to getting an MBA in 1 year. So it does introduce you to all parts of different organizations. Another way is to be an applicant. So if your organization is interested in applying at any of the four levels, you can come in at any of the four levels. You do not have to start at level 1. You can apply at level 4, level 3, and of course there's different criteria for each level, but you can start at any level you'd like. You can be a judge. Although the judges reside with TNCPE, they usually have a judge or two from North Carolina on the board because they're helping us as well. To be a judge, you would need to have some prior Baldrige experience. That would not be your starting point. You'd probably be an examiner for at least 5 or 6 years before you'd be eligible to be a judge. If you have that experience in another state, and a prior life, if you will, we'd certainly be interested. And you don't have necessarily have to have come through our program as an examiner, but we would expect somebody to be a judge to have been an examiner several years before they but judge. But judge is another way. Another one's the ambassadors. So this may not be something that's right for you or your organization, but tell others about it, especially organizations that you feel are high performing organizations and are interested in being recognized as high performing organizations and may want to move on to national recognition through the Baldrige program. We hope to have sponsors and memberships later this year. We don't have the details of that worked out yet. So that may or may not happen in 2026. That's a goal of ours, is to start a sponsor membership program. Tennessee does this already, and we're wanting to kind of mimic what they are doing. So that's another possible way to do it, and just learn more. As Jennifer mentioned, regional managers are out in your state, across the state, and they can get you connected with our resources, whether it's just an introductory class or a visit by myself. I'd be happy to visit with anyone that's, I do make visits with organizations that are starting the Baldrige journey or want to learn more about it. So lots of different ways to participate in NCAFE. And we're happy to have new people in the program, wherever your interests are. So that's all I had in the slides presentation. There's hopefully some time for Q&A here, and if you have questions, please put them in the chat or the method that Susan mentioned, and I'll be happy to answer questions.
So, Kevin, while we're waiting on a couple of questions, I do run into quite a few folks who are interested in applying to the program. And something that I see quite a bit or hear quite a bit is folks who are interested in knowing, more about success stories or past applicants. So what are some of the benefits of applying to the program, and what kind of success have you seen from those applicants?
Yeah, that's a great question. The benefits really vary for, depending on your organization. So some organizations like the recognition for different reasons. One I think is employee morale. I think employees get excited when they feel like they're working for a top-notch organization, and this is a third party or external way to validate that your organization is doing many things right. So what is just the recognition and the internal employee morale. Regarding success stories, one in Tennessee that I really liked is when the health department, who ran the entire state health department, but these are county based. He wanted a framework such that all of the county health organizations were managed and operated in a similar mode. So he had every single one of them, all the counties in Tennessee, apply to the Baldrige level. The TNCP award over there they might be at different levels, but at least they were addressing the same thing: strategy and leadership and customers and so on, workforce. And then they could start to share best practices and processes and so forth. So if you're managing a multiple site organization, I think it's a great way to have everybody on the same singing from the same sheet of music, if you will. So that could be a benefit. Another thing is it kind of helps you track your progress. Most organizations like to see progress, and this gives you a score that you can compare from year to year and so on. So, if you're ISO 9000, and I'm not knocking ISO 9000, I go out and do ISO 9000 audits and help companies with ISO 9000. Don't get me wrong, but you get a list of non-conformances, in your audits or your surveillance audits or whatever, and it really doesn't give you an idea necessarily how much you're making progress. So this is, you track your KPIs, perhaps you're tracking KPIs and you may be showing progress in those. But you may always have a question of, are these KPIs meaningful or not? And, I'm showing progress here, but am I really making progress? So there can be a lot of different reasons and benefits from it. You're joining a network of people doing the same thing, similar to ISO 9000 from that standpoint, and you can, we like a lot of things, we have our own language, and you start speaking the language and all that. So, good question though.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I was actually an examiner, Kevin, if you remember, in 2023.
Yes.
So it is an immersive experience. It can be an intense experience. It's definitely educational. What would you say are the benefits, or why would someone want to get involved in becoming an examiner?
Yeah, that again, that varies as well too. So, like you say, it's a great educational thing. So many of us are, like myself, if you will. I was an engineer. I was an engineer in school at NC State, and it really helped me in my business background, if you will, helping understand how organizations approach customers, find new customers, um, customer satisfaction and things of that nature. So it really opened my eyes to a lot of parts of organizations that I probably wouldn't have seen if I had not been an examiner. So on a personal level, many people find it very rewarding and very educational and and very helpful in their careers, especially people, early stages of their career. I think a lot of people though come into our examiner pool with the intent of helping lead their organizations through the process. And that's very good too. And that's, I would say most people are in it on that level is to, our organization is getting ready to start this, or we have started and we need more people who are understanding this, the criteria and what's being asked, and what processes that we have in place that already meet the criteria, what processes that we have in place that need to be improved to meet the criteria, and so on. And so I think probably most people come in as examiners with the intent of playing some type of support role back at their organization.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you will definitely learn a whole lot to bring back to your own company about organizational excellence. So that's for sure. And I wanted to just quickly, if we have time for one more just common question that I receive when I'm in the field. How would an organization really be able to gauge what level of application they should be working on or working towards?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, you can start at different, any of the four levels. You don't have to start at level one. I think a lot of that depends on, how much of the things that are covered by the criteria you already have in place. And one way of doing that is kind of, that's one of the things that I have done with companies through the years is kind of doing a gap assessment and say, hey, here's what the criteria is asking for. Do you have something like this? And a lot of times people say, we don't have anything because they haven't started. But when you get into it, you do have a lot of things. And that's trying to, what the gap assessment that I've done with companies, trying to help them understand the things they already have in place that meet the criteria already. So, again, you can come in at different levels. A gap assessment might be a good way to help you understand maybe where you're at and maybe what level you'd like to come in. One thing I'll mention on the levels is, let's say if you come in at level three and the judges deem that you do not meet the level three criteria, but you do meet the level two criteria, you will be awarded a level two award. So it's not like you've wasted your efforts. But if you apply at the level three, you can never be considered for level four, of course, because you haven't answered all the questions. You haven't submitted the full 50-page application. But really, when you're, and I'm just making this up, this could be at level four, three, whatever. When you come in at, let's again, at my example at level three, if you don't meet level three and are not awarded level three, you still may be awarded level two. So there's a lot of things to consider along that, and I try to, when I go out and visit companies, try to help them think through those kinds of things.
Hmm. And just for clarity, what is the difference or partnership between TNCPE and NCAFE?
Well, again, they're a big support service for us in examiner training and the judging process. That they help us with that, and so we eliminated that redundancy where we don't have to do that here, and also conflict of interest. We don't. I don't want anyone to perceive that organization ABC won the award because they worked with Kevin, So I'm out of the judging process. And so if you work with IES and Kevin, and we have other third parties, it's not just Kevin that helps organizations, but I do a lot of it. And so if you work with me, I don't want it to be seen as they got the award because they worked with Kevin. So
Sure.
we got them for that reason as well. It's worked well.
Awesome. It definitely has. They're a great partner. Susan, any questions that you're seeing in the chat? I don't want to miss anything.
I am not seeing any at this time. Just a reminder, folks, if you do have a question, please submit that through the Q&A.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, we can go ahead and wrap up. As Kevin mentioned, there is a regional manager, someone in my role, in representing every county of North Carolina. So if you would have any questions following this webinar, about NCAFE, TNCPE, Baldrige, or any of our other services, please reach out to your regional manager. He or she will definitely be able to guide you in the right direction. If you'd like to reach Kevin, same thing goes there. Please reach out to your regional manager and we can get you connected if you're interested in applying or just learning more information. I do want to put in a quick plug for MFGCon, our manufacturing conference, coming up here very shortly. It is April 14th and 15th at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. We would love to see you all there. It's a great opportunity for manufacturers to come together and network and share best practices and meet each other and just learn about what's going on in the industry. So we would absolutely welcome everyone to register and attend that conference. And as Susan mentioned, we'll be sending out a copy of this PowerPoint to all participants. So look forward to seeing you all at the next session. And thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Thank you.
Jennifer.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thanks,
Kevin.
Susan.